in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
All right, welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday, pushing the limits. Of course, the YouTube Super Chat. We're on X, we're on Twitch, the FMAM dial KSHP, and we appreciate all of you joining us on what is a very busy Wednesday. Leonard Cardinale is going to be joining us in studio in a little bit here. We're going to be running down Pam Bondi testimony on Capitol Hill in regards to the Epstein files. A lot of interesting testimony and expected testimony. So we're certainly going to get to all that and much, much more. And of course, take your phone calls a little bit later on in the program. But to start the show today, I interview all sorts of different people, and the midterms are right around the corner. And the guy joining us right now is a prominent Korean American pastor. He's running for governor of the great state of California. He's the leader in the new Apostolic Reformation movement. And as I mentioned, he's running as a Republican, a staunch Trump supporter for candidate for governor of California in the 2026 elections. His name is Cheyenne, and he joins us right now on the program. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. How are you?
I'm doing really well. If I could just say it's Che on, like Che Guevara, but
Gotcha.
I'm a revolutionary for God and Christianity.
Got you. Well, Chai, I do appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much. Did I get that correctly? I mean, you have a staunch religious background. You obviously have been a Republican your entire life. And is it fair?
No, that's not true. Yeah,
okay,
I grew up as a Democrat. My father was the first Korean Southern Baptist pastor in North America. We immigrated in the 60s, and growing up in the 60s, my dad was for President Kennedy. We grew up Democrats as Asians. A lot of Asians are. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until really in 2020 I switched over from being independent to being a Republican. So, yeah, this is a new arena for me altogether, because I've been a pastor for 46 years, like my dad, and this was not on my radar. But I really believe that God leads us and speaks to us, and Jesus himself said in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice." And the voice can manifest in so many different ways. And the primary way that he speaks to me is through the Bible, through the Word of God. But I had an encounter with God on April the 28th, where God called me to lay down everything and serve as I've been a pastor serving people, but to serve the people of California and run for governor. And my reaction, honestly, was, please, not this, Lord. I'll do whatever you want me to do, but don't ask me to do this. But God confirmed that I was called to run. And I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I do believe my calling is to help bring about spiritual awakening and change the spiritual climate of California.
So Chai, I'll be the first one to admit I'm not an extremely religious person, but I'm also not an atheist. I do believe in God. And as you know, a lot of Democrats in California. It's going to be an uphill battle for you. With that being said, I think it's a fair question, because a lot of people, I'm sure you've been asked this before, why support Donald Trump which obviously you're a religious man, which I think is fine. I think it's great. But a lot of the times, I hear a lot of people, and I'm one of these people, that would say, there's a lot of things in the Bible that Donald Trump has done the opposite of: treatment of immigrants and refugees, humility, and servant leadership, truthfulness in the Bible, love for enemies and non-retaliation, wealth and generosity. Obviously, Chai, I can go on and on and on.
Sure.
But what do you say to those people like myself who would say, why would you support a man who's 3,000 times in the Epstein files, who's a 34-count felon, a liable sexual abuser? Is this what God would want? And why support Donald Trump? Because I think you're going to get that a lot in California.
Yeah, well, of course, when we are electing an official, we're not voting for a pastor. I'm not looking for someone that's going to be a Christian pastor to lead the country. I feel I'm looking for someone with leadership that has values that are aligned with me, and I'll enumerate the values that I am for. And this may not be popular to even the Democrats, and that's why it's going to take a miracle for me to win in California. But I believe the values he has for religious freedom, and for him to really stand with Israel. That's another value I have. And he has a value for life, has a value for basically the Constitution, and I'm a constitutionalist. And so there are a number of things. And, I use the metaphor, the scriptural, in Isaiah 45, there was a man named Cyrus, King Cyrus of Persia. And the Bible says, even though he did not know me, but he was still anointed by me to bring about my purposes. And he was the one that helped Israel, that was dispersed in what was then Babylon, then was taken over by the Persians, to return back to Israel as a nation. And so God used him, even though he was not a follower of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The point I'm trying to make is that I really believe ultimately God is the one that is the one that raises up leaders and removes leaders, and that's in Daniel chapter 2. Now, having said that, again, I feel that out of the situation that we were in with 4 years of Biden, with open borders, hyperinflation, 40-year high inflation, with the gas prices here in California, we were hitting record highs, and it's still high right now. It's over $5 a gallon, and basically a lot of it is economics, because the economics does impact the poor, and my heart is for the poor in California.
Can I ask about that, Shai, if I may? Because I think that's an important point. Do you think Jesus would have wanted the biggest tax cuts in the history of this country, $100 billion to the top 1%? If we had the opportunity to speak to Jesus right now, do you think that would be aligned with your values and the values of Jesus to give the biggest tax breaks in the history of this country to the tech billionaires? Because I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that would be the right thing to do. But what I'm looking at is more of the whole trickle-down impact over overall economy, not a specific one policy.
You think Trump's economy is good for people that are poor, living paycheck to paycheck right now, taking away their Medicaid benefits, taking away in the big and beautiful bill, as you know, Chai, in the big and beautiful bill, 20 million people are going to be losing their Medicaid benefits, and millions of people losing their food stamps. Again, I'm not a very religious person. You are, which I respect. Right. That's not what Jesus would want. Wouldn't we want to take care of thy neighbor and those that are poor?
Well, what Jesus would want us to do is for us to take responsibility for our finances. He gives the parable of the talents, gives 5, 2, and 1. And it's up to them to invest in that money, to work on that money, to grow that money. And what we're talking about is the biblical basis for a free market society. I really believe that the dependence of social services, and I believe in safety net. There's no question about it. We do have to provide for the poor, but the ideology behind socialism really, to me, has not worked. It's caused more poverty at the end of the day. Look at a lot of the socialist countries like North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela. And so I don't believe in that kind of big government that pays for everything. At the end of the day, you run out of money and someone has to pay for it. So what I'm more for, which I voted for him for his free market ideology, and that's why I'm saying that the values, as far as each issue goes, my immigration issue is different from his. So it's not like there's across the board the specifics we're talking about. I'm just talking about on a macro. Go ahead. What's that?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you bring up a good point there. What do you make of? I'm curious. What do you make of what's going on in Minneapolis? What do you make of those 2 shootings that took place with Renee Good? I mean, obviously, you're running for governor. You must have an opinion on that. And the fact that you come from a family full of immigrants, which I think is great, by the way. I want more people like you in this country. Right. But it doesn't seem to me that the Trump administration is treating, you mentioned the Constitution. You care about the Constitution, I would imagine, just as much as I do. I'm with you on that. But taking away someone's Fourth Amendment rights and going up to people that have accents and people that are brown, asking them for ID, asking them for papers when they have no reasonable or articulable suspicion that they've committed a crime. I would assume you're not okay with that behavior.
No, I'm not. And I'm not for ICE. I don't think we need ICE. I think if each government did their own job, we wouldn't need it. But unfortunately, under Biden, we had 12 million illegals come. And I came, but I was a legal immigrant. And I became a citizen, and by God's grace, I'm living the American dream. My parents came, and they had nothing, but my dad was a pastor, very poor, And so he had to be in the marketplace. So he became a dental technician. And then my mother started a restaurant. And it was amazing because she was a
So a
phenomenal
hardworking
cook.
family. You come from a very
Hardworking, we were
which I appreciate,
exactly,
which I think
yeah,
is great. And I
right,
appreciate having that background. And the things I get frustrated with a guy like Trump is his father gives him a $500 million company, right? Your family did something. You know, your family came here and they made something of themselves, which I absolutely appreciate very much. And
yeah,
just, you know, I'm trying to understand this, though, because you say you align with the president on a number of different issues. Obviously, you disagree with how he's handling things with ICE. You agree with me that the biggest tax breaks in the history of this country, probably not a good look, probably not a good idea. I look at Donald Trump and I look at the insults too. And I look at the way he talks about women, bragging about, you know, being with women, liable sexual abuse. And I think of just the moral standards of Donald Trump. And I say, even Chai, if you agree with some of his policies, what about the person that he is, the way he talks about people, the way he talks
right,
about immigrants, the way he talks about brown people? Go back to your S-hole countries, the way he talks about women,
yeah,
the way he talks about POWs. I don't respect John McCain because he was captured. Surely
yeah.
you can't align with that kind of behavior. I don't think you do.
Yeah, well, I'm in a state with 80% that would vote Democrat,
Right.
and I honestly, there are a lot of things that I disagree with what's going on in our state, and that's why I'm running for governor. What
Sure.
I'm trying to say is that we're trying to vote for people that will do the best for the people. We're not voting for personality. I mean, unfortunately, we end up choosing. But when I look at the policies that Kamala Harris and President Biden before her, I felt like that was really hurting people across the board. And so that's where you have. So maybe you could call voting for lesser of the two evils. Okay, and so that is why we have this incredible.
What do you think was evil about Kamala Harris? Listen, I agree with you. Joe Biden and his administration did not do a great job with the border. I would also say the prior 3 or 4 presidents didn't do a great job either. I agree with you. It sounds to me like you don't necessarily agree with how Trump is doing it, but you do agree that, you know, we need more deportations. Okay, I think that's a very fair conversation to have. But why do you think Kamala Harris was evil? Like, can you give me a specific policy that she ran on?
I didn't say she was evil. I didn't say she was evil as a person.
You voted for the
Well, what
lesser.
I'm talking about is just a phraseology that a lot of
Yeah,
times
yeah.
people vote for the lesser of two evil, and
So
basically
what was your biggest issue with Kamala Harris? Like policy?
well, first of all, she's for abortion, and that's, as a pastor, that is, to me, is a major issue. I vote life, and
Policy
of course,
disagreement. Policy disagreement. Is that fair to say?
yes, yeah,
Okay, fair.
it
Can I
is,
ask you
right.
about that? And listen, I respect anybody that is against abortion. I think you have the right to that opinion, but here's my issue with it. And you tell me what you think about this, sir. I feel like after the baby is born, many Republicans, I'm not saying you're like this, but many Republicans are against food stamps. They're against welfare. They're against maternity leave. They're against basically any government program that would help that mother raise that child. And I say to myself, Republicans have a history of voting anti-life after the baby is born. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I totally agree. I think what we have to do is that we have to have a holistic organic program. What I mean by that,
Yeah.
I want to give teenagers that are poor the option that, as governor, I want to pay for their prenatal care. I want to pay for their delivery,
Right.
and the postnatal care, and then I want to remove a lot of the regulations on adoption and reduce the price of adoption, because there's so many people that want to adopt, and so to give funds for that.
I think
And
that's
so
great.
I want to.
I think that's great.
So
I think
yeah,
that's
so that's
I agree with you on that. What would you say though
okay.
to exceptions? Would you agree with exceptions for rape or incest? What are your opinions on that?
No, I don't, because again, for me, I really believe that if you kill a life, it's wrong. And so the Bible says in Proverbs 6, verse 16, there's 6 things the Lord hates, 7, which is an abomination.
Mhm.
And the third one is hands that shed innocent blood. So my alternative is that you don't have to keep the child. Please put the child up for adoption. What it was happened was evil, but I don't want another evil of
So you would
murdering the baby.
I understand your position, but you would force, say, a 12 or 13-year-old girl, and I use the word force because that's what it sounds like. If she's raped, force her to carry that baby and have that baby, even though her parents, her family, she does not want to have that baby, you would still look her in the eyes and say, no, our government says you have to have that baby. I'm sorry you were raped, but we are going to force you to carry that baby and have that baby. Is that a conversation you're willing to have with your constituents?
Yes, I am willing to have that conversation because, again, with the government support, if we can just keep that baby, and again, that's a very rare situation. What we're talking about is just really like less than 1%. But having said that, I have to be consistent. Otherwise, I wouldn't be integrous. I'm running on integrity, and integrity is who I am and my values, and I have to be consistent. And so, otherwise, I would just be speaking out both sides of my mouth. And so, what I want to do is I want to provide the care and the finances to carry that baby to full term, put the child up for adoption.
Okay, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, but that goes against what's in the big and beautiful bill. Is it not, Jay? Because in the big and beautiful bill, 20 million people are losing their Medicaid coverage. In fact, their premiums are going up. So I agree with what you're saying. Yes, we need to take care of these mothers. Yes, we need to provide them the proper health care they need. But doesn't that go against almost everything that's in the big and beautiful bill?
Well, the truth is that Obamacare, to me, I think was failed for disaster. What I am hearing from President Trump is that he's going to give an alternative. And again,
haven't we been hearing that for 9 years, though? With respect, sir, for 9 years we've heard of a replacement plan, and I have yet to see one. I mean, that to me, that's not a serious lawmaker. You wouldn't do that, right? If you're elected as governor of California and you're complaining about a policy, you would have some sort of alternative policy, right? Which is what he's had 9 years. Going back to his first administration, he said what you said, complaining about Obamacare, and he's had no replacement plan.
Well, again, this is where we have a democratic republic and we have the freedom to vote him out if you don't like the delay and the procrastination. But I do believe that as even Republicans, we want to hold him accountable and to have him come up with a plan, because we need to have that for the people that will lose their insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to ask you this from a religious standpoint, Pastor. And again, if you're just joining us, Cheon, prominent Korean American pastor who's running for governor of the great state of California. We appreciate him being here. As someone who has dedicated your life to being a pastor, I'm wondering how you feel where Donald Trump selling Bibles for $60, made in China for $3, holding up a Bible upside down, saying that the Bible is his favorite book when he can't recite one verse in the Bible. I'm wondering how that makes you feel as a man who's dedicated your life to this.
Again, to me, I did not vote for him because he's a pastor, a theologian, or Bible expert. I voted for the policies that I felt would be best overall. No president is perfect. No policy, no administration is perfect. We can find loopholes in every problem, every situation. But again, to me, that is not even relevant. It's not something that is on my.
Do you think it's relevant? Do you think it's relevant that he's in the Epstein files over 3,000 times? Because Joe Biden's not.
I think, well, he's the one that disclosed it.
No, so actually, he was forced to, based on Congress and the Senate that voted to release it. And there's still 3 million files that have yet to be released. And there was tons of redactions. And I'm not talking about victims. I'm talking about disgusting, despicable people, which I think we would agree with, that did some horrible things to young children. And he calls people like us stupid, that if we even bring it up. So I think to the contrary, he's broken the law. They have yet to release 3 million files. And I'm just asking you if you think that's problematic. I'm not even asking you about the criminality of it. Forget about the criminality of it. This is a man who's in the Epstein files have over 3.
I believe there should be full disclosure of the Epstein file. I believe that everything has to come up front. And,
yes.
But the problem I'm having is that, you know, we had all these accusations concerning Russian collusion, and it was just basically fake news. And so, you know, I do know the left is doing whatever they can, and they're always trying to dig up something, and we're just coming up empty. And so I just feel like, again, you know, if he denies it, it's because of the pattern of all the false accusations.
I don't like fake news.
That's what his choice to do that. But in principle, I think everything has to be disclosed.
So we are in full agreement on that. You mentioned fake news and Russian collusion. Would you consider it fake news every single time Donald Trump says he won the 2020 election? Is that also fake news? Or is that the truth?
I believe that. I believe there's been election fraud. So I personally believe that.
Well, hold on. with respect, sir, I didn't ask you if there was election fraud. There's going to be election fraud in every election. He said that the Democrats cheated and the 2020 election was rigged. He was 0-61 in the courts. It's why we had January 6th. So my question to you is, who won the 2020 election free and fair?
I don't know. We don't ultimately know. But here's what I do feel. Here's what I feel. Just again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a politician. I've been pastor for 46 years. But when I saw the results of Biden getting more black votes than Obama did in Philadelphia and Detroit and Milwaukee, I said, there's something wrong with this, because Obama was the most popular black president, period. And for him to get more votes than that, and I just said, and the numbers were off the charts when he was basically campaigning in his basement. And I just said, how did this happen?
We were during a global pandemic. You know that. So because he got more black votes than Barack Obama, you think the election was stolen and rigged and the Democrats cheated with no evidence?
Again, I don't know. I don't have the facts. But to me,
the FBI, the CIA have already said it was the most fair election in our lifetime. Donald Trump had the opportunity to prove in a court of law any type of widespread voter fraud, which they were unable to prove. You're running for office in California, and obviously you take your campaign very seriously, and so do I. So why would you make a claim that you don't know if the election was free and fair when there's literally no evidence proven in a court of law that there was widespread voter fraud? You're going to be asked this question as you're running for governor, and I think it's a very important one. Does January 6th happen if Donald Trump doesn't say the election was stolen? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, January 6th to me is indicative of the deep state for me personally.
What does that mean?
These people 400 people were arrested. And
over 1,500 people were arrested, actually.
Okay, well, I know that
they got most of them got pardons from Donald Trump, as you know. Do you think those were hostages and patriots that beat
to me, 1,500 is much more than I thought. Okay, so to me that was problematic because it's like I just say that no one was carrying. There was no violence.
There were over 12. There was no violence. Did you see the videos with respect, sir?
I did see the video. I'm talking about they broke in and all that, but I didn't see.
You didn't see officers being beaten? You didn't see any officers being beaten on January 6th? You didn't see any of that footage? I'm shocked to hear you say that, sir.
Yeah. Well, again,
were any officers physically attacked on January 6th?
Yeah, there were.
Would you consider that violence? Because you just said there was no violence.
But again, I feel some of it was planned. I just don't feel that it was the people. I think there was a lot of maybe you call me a conspiracy theory, but I just really feel that as we're going through the courts now and looking at the evidence, like 5 people died, but 4 of them was by suicide by the police. They weren't killed.
Yeah, Brian Sidney was not died by suicide. He died.
One person did die.
And Ashley Babbitt was shot.
A heart attack.
Yeah, Ashley Babbitt was killed that day. Do you know that there are?
Yes, but she was on the side of the protesters.
Well, it doesn't matter what side she died.
But she was died by a police officer. Yeah.
Right, correct. And you are aware that 140 officers were injured, and there are dozens of officers that have traumatic brain injury. Were you aware of that?
Well, that's what I heard. Yes.
That's what you heard. Yes. So you would call that violence, right? Those people are bad. If you attack a police officer in general, that's a very bad thing to do. Can we fundamentally agree on that? Right. Okay. Yes. Fair enough. Donald Trump called those people hostages and patriots. I would imagine you don't agree with that statement.
Well, it depends on who he's referring to.
He made a general claim that they were all. He's made that multiple times.
Well, that's hyperbole that he uses all the time. So I don't take that. I don't take that for face value.
Well, he did pardon those people. Some of those people beat cops. In fact, over 700 of those people are violent criminals. As you are running for governor of California, I can't imagine you would agree with pardoning somebody who beats a cop, right?
No, I'm against that for sure.
Right. Absolutely. And we agree that it was a bad day, right? It was not a good day for America. It was a bad day.
No, it was a bad day.
Okay, good. Absolutely. So we fundamentally agree. Why do you think those people were there that day?
Well, from what I was there, by the way, I was there, but I didn't go to the Capitol. I went there to hear him speak,
Right.
and he said that
Which is your
the
right
last
to
thing
do.
I heard, him say, "Let's peacefully go over there,"
Mhm.
and our people were there. We had around 40 people from our church there just to
Mhm.
pray, and they
Right.
weren't involved in any of it. They didn't get arrested.
Nothing wrong with
They
that
were
at
just,
all. But I've
yeah,
never called out
yeah,
anybody that did not commit any crimes there that day. You
yeah,
obviously had the right to be there and listen to the president speak. My only issue, and again, we can end the topic here, but I just want to say, he's the only president in American history that's never conceded an election. And even Al Gore eventually conceded. And we can all have our differences of opinions. But the fact of the matter is that it was never proven in a court of law that anybody cheated to the extent of widespread voter fraud. And as I would imagine you would agree with me, January 6th doesn't happen if Donald Trump just concedes the election. Can we agree on that?
yes, I agree with that.
Okay,
Yes,
fair,
I do
fair.
agree with that, and I feel like he's not. I mean, to me, everyone's moved on. It's water under the bridge because he lost.
He
He was
has.
not president,
He hasn't moved
and
on.
then well,
I'm,
he
in his
as
speech last
far
week, he called almost every time he talks to the media, he says it was rigged. Almost every time and by the way, you saw what Tulsi Gabbard did. She goes into Georgia, and I don't know what they're trying to do here, but I mean, Donald Trump continues to bring up the 2020 election almost every single time he speaks. So I think if the person is, that's not moving on
well,
from
let
it.
me say this: I've moved on, and I think America's moved on.
I think the president hasn't moved on, and I don't think we can forget what took place on that day. I thought it was a horrible day for the country, and I certainly feel for all the victims and the officers. And I'm not comfortable with some of the pardons that he gave. I don't like pardons in general. All right, so in closing, Jay, I want to give you the opportunity how people can learn a little bit more about you. We've obviously gotten into a lot of national topics. There's a lot of problems in the country. I'm sure you would agree, a lot of problems in California. So give out that information if people want to learn a little bit more about you, how they go to your
Yes,
website
well,
and
well,
what.
they could go to my website. My website's CHE number 4
Mhm,
ca.com. And the main thing I'm running on, this sounds totally not political,
mhm,
but I really believe that what we need is spiritual awakening and revival, not just for the United States, but specifically in California.
mhm,
And as a pastor, what I'm doing is I'm mobilizing 1 million believers to pray for California, to pray for Sacramento, but they're also being mobilized to vote and to vote biblically. And so that's my strategy. And so I'm working with the church. I'm working with people with ethnic background, like myself. I'm the only person of color that's running among the Republicans. They're all white male,
mhm. That's
and I'm
also a
really,
problem in itself. I want more diversity. That's just me.
of
But
course, absolutely. And so I feel that I have a voice um, for the immigrants, for as one that came, and that my policy for immigration I feel is just, but also very, very compassionate.
no.
I do feel like we have to enforce the laws that we have passed, like Proposition 36, to
Mhm.
make a misdemeanor into a felony again. And so the district attorney has to do that. And of course, I will allocate money for that. And I personally believe that we need to open up oil production again. We've shut it down under President Biden's administration. And so to me, it's about the economy. Over 25% of Californians are living in poverty.
Mm.
We have the largest homeless situation, 187,000 homeless. And unfortunately, we have spent $5 billion a year. The last 5 years, 24 billion. It's increased by 40%. And what I want to do is have faith-based nonprofit organization, not just nonprofit organization, to really help with the homeless situation. Because I used to be a drug addict. I
Mm.
was once homeless.
Mhm,
And by God's grace, I gave my life to Jesus Christ. He changed my life.
mhm.
And I feel that I have the solution for that
Mm.
as a pastor that's been involved in a
Well, that's
nonprofit
important.
organization
That's
for
that's
46
very,
years.
very important, Jay, what you were just talking about. I'm glad you got help. I'm glad you're in a much better position now. That's a huge problem in this country, and I agree with you. We need to do more to help those that are addicted to drugs or, quite frankly, any addiction, or when it comes to mental health.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Sure.
I think that's very commendable. Well, Jay, I really do appreciate you coming on and have a good conversation, even though we we do agree on some things. We might not agree on everything, but that's why we need
No,
to have.
that's fine. That's why I wanted to be on your show.
I appreciate,
Thank
no,
you.
hey, listen, I appreciate that. I appreciate the
Okay.
respectful conversation, and you're welcome back anytime. If you're ever in Vegas, you're welcome in studio, and I really do appreciate the conversation. And as I mentioned, you're welcome on anytime, and I appreciate the time, my friend, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. All right. God bless you guys. All
God
right,
bless
bye-bye.
you as well. Thank you, sir. That's Cheon, prominent Korean American pastor who's trying to win the governorship of the great state of California, as the man that is sitting to my right, patiently waiting there and shaking his head. I do appreciate Cheon coming on the show. I knew we would get into it a little bit. Leonard,
it was hard for me to hold back.
Leonard, what were your thoughts on that interview?
You were very nice to him. I would have.
I tried to be.
I don't mean like in an aggressive, or an ad hominem way, like they accuse people of, but I think that he didn't come off as a Christian to me. His rhetoric and his talking points were from the 80s, and from the 90s, and he was talking about some old-fashioned stuff. Then he brings up homeless, and it's like, you know what? You don't have to be that smart to feed the hungry, take care of the poor, to love one another, to treat your neighbor with respect, to not lie and not support liars. That's directly out of the Bible. Okay, so when he says things like, well, I didn't see it. So why are you running for governor of California? If you didn't even watch the video of January 6th and you're not really sure what happened, because I'm just a regular guy that comes on once a week to hang out with you, and I could tell you in detail everything that happened.
Well, Leonard,
so why is he running?
Obviously, I have a problem with that. I was a little surprised when he said there wasn't violence, and then that was a little surprising to me that he wasn't aware of that.
Where does he get the women thing from? If women get pregnant, they should have the baby anyway. Do you know how many different circumstances there are?
Yeah.
There's being raped by someone in your family. There's violent rape. There's mothers whose life is on the line. And this guy wants to run in California, by the way, and have abortion be one of his platforms and say that women need to have them babies anyway. I mean, really, Brian?
Yeah.
Is he really going to get that far?
Obviously, I disagree with his abortion take, but even further, no exceptions. I think that's just my personal opinion.
Is that Christian?
I understand that there are most people on the right wing, the evangelical right, that are, of course, anti-abortion. I don't necessarily call it pro-life, but at least he did agree with me that there needs to be more government programs to help single mothers raise the children after they're born. At least I got that from him, which I think is extremely important. Listen, he seems like a decent man.
He didn't agree with ICE. He doesn't agree with ICE or what they're doing.
I appreciate the fact that he didn't like what ICE is doing in Minneapolis. He doesn't agree with that portion of it. And I understand. I never said that we have to vote for a pastor as president. There's a fine line between
kept pivoting on that.
Yeah, there's a fine line between the perfect man and a man that's in the Epstein files over 3,000 times. That's a liable abuser and 34-count felon. I'm not saying we need a saint to be president, but we need a leader, and it shouldn't just be about policy. It should also be about being a role model and a decent human being. He also agreed with me when I challenged him on the biggest tax breaks for the top 1%.
He did.
Good for him. He also agreed with me on that, which I was very happy to hear. Listen, he has an uphill climb. California we all know, is mostly a Democrat state. But he's going to have to answer these questions more as the midterms come around the corner. And
he didn't seem to be like a polished politician. He didn't seem to someone I've done many. Oh, you and I sat for governor interviews together, right? For endorsements. And those people, some of those people are very sharp, very polished, very up on what's going on.
I don't think he would consider himself that, but I'm going to tell you, that's not my biggest issue. I don't care if you're not extremely polished. You need to admit that there was violence on January 6th and some people got hurt and some people got killed. He did say that 5 people were killed, but not all of them were from suicide. Brian Sitnick, Ashley Babbitt, there was another lady that was trampled and had a heart attack. He didn't seem aware of the fact that there are many officers, one is too many, that have traumatic brain injury.
400 were injured.
He did agree with me that they're not hostages and patriots, and there were not 400 people that were arrested. That is lowballing it. Over 1,500 people were arrested that day. And I bring this up, and I know that a lot of Republicans don't want to talk about January 6th, but we need to talk about it, because if Donald Trump was never elected, January 6th doesn't happen. If Donald Trump wasn't elected, Renee Good's still alive today. Alex Preddy's still alive today. And I kept bringing up the big and beautiful bill because I agree with him. We need to help single mothers financially. There needs to be government. I agree with him on that. But basically everything in the big and beautiful bill is against what he was agreeing with me on. That's policy.
You know what I wanted to ask him? I wanted to ask him, like he said, I'm gonna run, and then I said, God, no, God, don't make me do that. And then God sent me a sign confirming that he wanted me to be a politician. I would have liked to know, like, what exactly that was. Was it a voice? Was it an event?
I mean, I don't know.
it
There are religious people that have all different ways that they claim they speak to God. And then we get into the religious conversation, which I really didn't want to get into him with because that's not my concern. My concern is his opinions on Donald Trump. He's going to have to answer to his support for Donald Trump. Obviously, I disagree with him on that. And policy. We agree on some policies. We disagree on some other stuff. I just think, in my personal opinion, Leonard, I think you're going to agree with me on this. I think it's extremely hypocritical of anybody that is an extremely religious person that says they align with Trump on almost anything. Maybe the abortion issue. Okay, I get that.
Well, you kept bringing up ethics and morals, right? And then he would pivot. Right. He'd be like, well, I'm not going to be a pastor. I'm going to be a politician. But your comparison was, how can you support someone with these types of ethics and morals and how he treats people and separates children? And he would then pivot and say, well, I don't expect Trump to be a pastor and I'm not going to be.
Listen,
but it was a good question and he did not answer the question.
I tried to be as respectful as I can, and I tried to challenge him on a number of different issues. It sounded like he didn't mind being challenged, which I do appreciate, but he's going to have to answer to Donald Trump, and he's going to have to answer to a lot of different things. And maybe he hasn't done a lot of those interviews where he has been challenged, but that's what I do on this show.
Can I say I don't believe for a second that God talked to him and told him to do that?
Well, I mean,
I don't think God gets involved in politics in that manner.
Yeah. Regardless, I mean, name me one policy put forth by MAGA and Donald Trump where Jesus would opine and say that's a great policy. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to name one. But listen, in closing, I appreciate Che for coming on the program. Wish him luck. I respect the fact that he was willing to come on this show, knowing that we would probably disagree on a lot of issues. And if he wants to come back on, we have a lot of listeners here. If he wants to come back on, I would absolutely give him the opportunity to do so. And
let him take phone calls.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I want to go that route, but I do appreciate him and his staff who have been very nice in communication with me. And I hope he takes the opportunity again to come back on, and he's more than welcome to. All right, here's what we're going to do. Leonard, we're going to take a deep breath.
What's next?
When we come back, Pam Bondi speaking in D.C. today. It didn't go very well for her, but it was the usual.
Such a tool.
Yeah, it was the usual attacking Democrats for everything and not answering anything specifically when it comes to the Epstein files. But I thought the Democrats did a pretty good job. But I also thought it was a waste.
Is tool not enough? Like the whole toolbox?
Yeah, she takes
power
the whole toolbox.
She's a power tool.
I have no problem saying this on the air. Pam Bondi is a dumb bimbo and a disgraceful human being. And I'll tell you why I said that based on the audio we're going to be playing next. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Okay,
it's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn
back. Pushing the limits on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, yeah, by the way, we have another epic debate tonight. I will be live streaming this debate. I'm trying to do at least one of these a week. Last week it was Andrew Wilson, a 4-hour debate. By the way, he didn't put that up on his page. I wonder why. I did on mine. Tonight,
why would you claim that you won a debate, which he did, and not post it?
Yeah.
I mean, tell me the reasoning there.
I think we all know the answer there. But the guy I'm debating tonight, it's 7 p.m. I'll be streaming live on all my social media platforms, just like here. And his name is Tom Rentz. Now, Tom has done this show before. He has made claims of Kamala Harris being a whore. He has attacked her and made those types of ad hominem attacks on her. He is a COVID conspiracy theorist. He is a staunch Donald Trump supporter. However, he has been critical on Donald Trump when it comes to the Epstein files. So we are going to get into it tonight. Me and Tom Rentz. You can look him up. Staunch Trump supporter, large following, podcaster, and he has agreed to debate me tonight at 7. I'm actually excited for this because it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be listening.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And maybe if you can't watch it live today, maybe we'll play a little bit of it tomorrow. We'll just wait and see how it goes.
Hey, Brian, maybe that caller will call in from yesterday, and I can school him on ad hominem and how it applies.
Yeah,
and how you were absolutely not doing that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Let's get through some audio first, and then we'll open up the phone lines.
Hopefully he'll call.
Yeah. So as you guys know, Pam Bondi, the dumb bimbo who testified in D.C. today about the Epstein files and a few other issues as well. And this is Pam Bondi this morning talking about if any man's name was redacted, we will take care of it. By the way, there's a ton of alleged pedophiles where their names have been redacted, but here's Pam Bondi trying to do or get in her defensive mode. Listen to this.
If any man's name was redacted that should not have been, we will, of course, unredact it. If a victim's name was unredacted, please bring it to us and we will redact it. We were given 30 days to review and redact and unredact millions of pages of documents. Our error rate is very low, but there are
victims are
always
right behind you. We've got to convince them
that
we're doing a good job
everything we can to help
protecting
the
them.
victims.
So Leonard, there are tons of people in the Epstein files, and I would say tons, I'm going to say hundreds, maybe more, in emails that are bragging about being with underage girls, that are bragging about looking at torture videos. I'm not even going to get into detail how gross it is. Why would they redact those names? Is that just a mistake?
Well, here's the thing. She's the Attorney General of the United States. She's 7th in the line of succession if something should happen to the president down the line. So when you're the head of the organization, you don't get to say, oh, yeah, we made a mistake. We put out the victims' names, where they live, and their phone numbers. And by the way, all the men who victimize these girls, they hid their names. And so she's lying. In my opinion, she's lying because she said in March or April, she had the list on her desk. I have the list on my desk.
Now there's no list.
I'm getting, now there's no, well, it wasn't a list.
Of course, Leonard, she's a liar. So you want to hear her crash out? Here we go. So she is getting pressed on Epstein and proven that she's a complete imbecile and a pedophile protector. And here's the point where she starts bragging about the S&P and the Dow. I'm not making this up. Watch this.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year.
She is speaking to an audience of one, and his name is
trying
Donald
to keep her job.
J. Trump. What does the Dow, and I think that was Jasmine Crockett in the background saying, what does that have to do with, yeah, I agree with her. What does the Dow and the S&P have to do with child predators and pedophilia, the people who you are protecting? It has nothing to do with it. She is speaking to an audience of one.
Hey,
Donald
Brian,
Trump.
how about those co-conspirators? And how about those men who are guilty of pedophilia? Did you know the Dow was over 50,000? And by the way, the Dow is not a real economic indicator anyway.
Of course
it's
it's
about
not.
futures. It's about what might happen in the future.
But she said that's what we should be talking about, not the dozens of
course.
the dozens of victims.
Yeah, she
that
don't
were
want to talk
sitting behind
about
her.
all the people
Yeah.
she's protecting.
So Ted Lieu, I thought, did a really good job. He played the infamous clip of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein partying together, and then he asked her if there were underage girls. This is one of the key points, I think, in the testimony today. She won't answer the question whether Donald Trump was at parties with Jeffrey Epstein with underage girls. Just like Kash Patel 6 months ago wouldn't answer the question if he told Pam Bondi that Trump's all over the Epstein files. She won't answer this question. We'll have a watch of this.
I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
that
stop the
he
clock.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation.
Time.
This is
I'd like to
ridiculous.
take my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness.
The Dow is over.
You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
Amen, Ted Lieu.
go.
Wonderful job. Again, let me repeat what we just listened to. Pam Bondi will not answer the question as to whether Donald Trump was partying with underage girls with Jeffrey Epstein, because we know the answer is yes. If the answer was no, she would say it. She is lying under oath when she said there's no evidence at all of any criminal wrongdoing at Donald Trump. There's plenty of evidence. Doesn't mean he did it, but there's plenty of evidence.
It's an easy question, yes or no.
Yeah, and then there's, of course. And then there's Eric Swalwell, Leonard, who plays the clip of Kash Patel, who clearly lied under oath when he was asked how many times Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Watch this.
Madam Attorney General, you acknowledged earlier to Mr. Johnson that President Trump was mentioned and the release countless times, you said, in the Epstein files. I just want to play a video, though, for you that I think speaks to the frustration that many of these victims have. Of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name that we have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it
we
at
have
least be 1,000
released
times?
every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can
so-
characterize the numbers however you want it.
Claiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
It's not.
means
It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number.
Somebody laughs.
I understand why the victims are frustrated, and the Attorney General acknowledged what Mr. Patel would not acknowledge, that it was way more than 1,000 times. But I want to move, Madam Attorney General, to weaponization of
That
government.
is Kash Patel. At that time, he knew that Donald Trump's name was mentioned thousands of times. He lied under oath. Where is the accountability?
I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Pam Bondi just took this entire hearing just with her little note cards.
You know, the FBI does the investigation. He's the leader of the FBI. In my opinion, like if you're chief of police or you're a sheriff, you don't get to say, I don't know. I don't know about that investigation. I don't have that information.
Here's the thing. Kash Patel lied under oath. Now, Pam Bondi took the entire hearing with little note cards and little binders trying to attack Democrats that were asking her prevalent questions about
Little ad hominems,
victims.
right?
Right. So this is Pam Bondi once again trying to attack Democrats. It's so stupid.
Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure, this isn't a circus, this is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you? None. And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular
posted
order.
nothing on her X account,
Gentlelady.
on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
Gentlelady.
And yet now, all of a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after
Committee will be in
Point of
order.
order. There was no
Committee will
question
be in
asked
order.
of the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to speak.
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady can state her point of order.
When a witness attacks,
Not a valid point of order. You got to state.
She hasn't completed her point of order yet. Please let her speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And she
I am
didn't do it.
trying to make a point of order that the witness,
And what rule are you referring to?
without responding to a question, has attacked me personally. I think it's pathetic that she can't answer the questions and
First
instead
time
is
that
attacking
is not even close
members
to a
of the
point of
committee.
order.
Yeah, actually, it is. Listen, I've watched a lot of congressional hearings in my career. The performance by Pam Bondi might be the most insane, ridiculous, unprofessional, and obnoxious that maybe I've ever seen. And she has the gall to talk about the professionalism of Democrats. It's insane.
What about Jungle Jim Jordan?
Yeah.
He's chairing.
Gymnasium Jordan.
Oh, is it? What's it? I thought it was Jungle Jim.
Gymnasium, yeah, gymnasium.
Yeah,
Jordan.
he's lost control of that entire process. He didn't enforce the rules, and when she interrupted, he would come back and say, "Well, let's let the lady finish her point, and then you can ask your question." Well, all she was doing was filibustering and taking up all the time.
Of course, I agree with you. And then this is what Pam Bondi had to say to Massey, who's one of the few Republicans that I have respect for, at least when it comes to this issue. She says he has. Well, I'll just play the clip for you. Go ahead.
Respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40
Chairman.
minutes, you asked me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Red-handed. There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited
what?
you in.
Show the video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs
Show
to
the
get.
video.
You're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to
these
watch the
matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None.
First of all, the person that has the syndrome is Pam Bondi. She has Trump fellatio syndrome. She has been on her knees for Donald Trump since day one and way before. She is the Trump mushroom gobbler. Massey is fighting for the victims, and I think that is commendable. I know. It's commendable what Massey is doing. And then Dan Goldman, who I think is phenomenal, by the way, he just basically states that that Pam Bondi is, as you just mentioned, is embarrassing Gymnasium Jordan. Listen to this.
Didn't even know in your tiny little district who he
Mr. Chairman,
was.
she's embarrassing you.
He's about to be.
This is your committee, and she is embarrassing
Shame
you.
on you.
The time of the gentleman has expired.
Yeah, there you go. Notice how Gymnasium Jordan doesn't respond to that, to what you just said.
Yeah, he's responded to a lot of other stuff, but he was 100% right. He's supposed to have the respect, which he does not. Even of his own colleagues, he doesn't have the respect for people to have regular order. There's a regular order. You have a time to speak. When you show up, you know, Pam Bondi knows that she's there to answer questions, not make statements, not change the subject. And regular order has been around since the beginning of America.
And here's a point, another important point of this hearing, where you had some of the victims who were sitting there in the hearing that were sitting maybe 20 feet away from Pam Bondi. And Jayapal, who I also thought did a good job, asked Pam Bondi to apologize because, remember, Pam Bondi's people have not interviewed any of these victims. In fact, they've intimidated them. Pam Bondi doesn't even turn around to look at the victims, and all Jayapal is asking for is for Bondi to apologize, and instead she decides to attack Jayapal and starts talking about Merrick Garland. Watch this.
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
that's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
Time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady's reclaimed her
I'm not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What
you.
a massive cover-up.
No, I'm answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is interrupted.
I'm not going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing theatrics.
and let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final 17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only to then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level,
Chairman,
the chair now recognizes the chair.
And what you have done.
The time of the gentlelady expired. The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back. We appreciate that. We appreciate the thought.
She fried her.
The most amazing part about that is she refused to even look at the survivors, let alone apologize. She wouldn't even look. All she want. What about Merrick Garland? What about Merrick Garland? You frickin' clown! You despicable excuse.
She's too ashamed. She's deep down. Any human being would be ashamed to not protect victims like that, or at least turn around and say, she said, anybody can call my office. Anyone can contact me. And then they make them stand up and go, hey, did she ever talk to you? And they're like, no, we never heard from her.
And here's what's the biggest disappointment of it all. And Leonard, you could tell me whether you disagree with this or not, but this was largely pointless, this entire hearing, because Bondi, as usual, because this is what she always does, was obnoxious. playing to an audience of one, Donald J. Trump. And Gymnasium Jordan refused to enforce any sort of regular order at all, as Dan Goldman pointed out. And Dems overall weren't extremely effective. I think a few of them were in the limited opportunity and the time that they had. So this was really a whole pointless charade as far as I am concerned.
Can I respectfully disagree a little bit? And this would be probably the first time. But where I would disagree that it's just a waste of time is this is what they were cleverly doing. The Democrats, in my opinion, and Massey were cleverly, they were letting her run her mouth. It was a terrible hearing. She never answered the questions. But what they were doing, in my opinion, was getting her on the record. Yeah. And even though a pardon is probably coming, and even though there are other things that Donald's going to do to protect her when she leaves, you can't help. That's why we do depositions. It's to get people on the record for later on. Yeah. And I think they did a good job of it.
I think some of them did. I think some of them could have been a little bit more effective, but it was under difficult circumstances. Okay, so since my throat is a little dry today, I'll be honest with you. I woke up today not feeling great. My throat's a little.
Do I need to put on my mask?
Not very good. No, I think I'm okay. Might be a minor cold or something, but now would be a good time to take some and give my voice a little bit of a break. But
maybe some of the people who are in the room being rude, maybe they'll call.
No, they're cowards. They're mushroom gobbling cowards. But I will say this. I don't know if you enjoyed the Super Bowl, Leonard. I certainly did.
I did. And the halftime show was the best one I've ever seen.
I had a small bet on Seattle. And,
so did I.
I am very happy to be joining forces with mybookie.ag. When you use the promo code LIMITS and you sign up for an account there, you get up to a $500 bet back bonus welcome offer, which is like almost unheard of in this industry. It's super cool. I signed up last week and it took me all of like 2 minutes, and their bonuses are unbelievable. So here's exactly what you do. You go to my Facebook fan page, which, if correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're up to like 86,000 subs or something like that. It's like obscene. Now we're gaining like 1,000 subs a day. It's unbelievable. We're going to hit 100,000 probably in a week. But you go to my Facebook page, the Pushing the Limits Facebook page, you click on the icon that they have there, or the link, for lack of a better term. You go to mybookie.ag and you can sign up there and get that $500 welcome bonus buyback. It's really awesome. Check it out. My friends at mybookie.ag. I am also a proud customer, and they are absolutely awesome. Where are we at right now? 88,000. How about that? I underestimated where we're at right now. 88,000 subs and counting.
Can I challenge someone in the live chat who said that you're forcing delusions? Can I challenge them to call?
No, they won't.
If they're brave enough.
No, they won't.
And call in and explain how you're forcing delusions.
They won't.
Because what you're really doing is you're lining out what really happened, the real
Leonard,
truth.
A lot of these Trump mushroom gobblers, they watch their Fox News and their OAN and their Newsmax, and they're not capable of having an intellectual conversation or debate. And then when I get into the ring, because I will get into the ring with absolutely
That's
anybody.
What I'm saying. Call in.
Andrew Wilson, Tim Pool. And if you're a Tim Pool fan or an Andrew Wilson fan or whoever I debate, oh, they destroyed you, Brian. Oh, really? How so? Tell me how they destroyed me. And it's funny. They can't really come up with anything, or what they do come up with is insane. But these people are cowards. Prove me wrong right now. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now.
What are they afraid of?
Number to call, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, 702-221-7283. That number, one more time, is 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283. Also, we're talking about Leonard and I discussed it. Cheyenne, who is a Korean-American pastor, author, and he's running for governor of the great state of California as a Republican and as a staunch Donald Trump supporter. One thing I didn't mention about him, because I did not want to get into the COVID conversation, but he legally challenged against COVID-19 lockdown restrictions on in-person worship services. So according to Cheyenne, when we were losing 3,000 to 4,000 people a day from COVID, he would have been totally okay with 5,000 people into a church not wearing masks. So I just think that's absurd. I didn't even want to get into that conversation with him.
Was he a Trump mushroom gobbler? Yes or no? Sort of.
I think he's very ill-informed. And I think
he seemed like a beginner to me.
He's wrapped into his own world of religion and everything fine, but he's very ill-informed when it comes to actually the damage that Donald Trump is doing to this country. He's a former Democrat, which I didn't know, then turned independent, then turned Republican. The only thing he brought up, his criticisms of Democrats, was the abortion issue. 702-221-7283. Let's get right to the calls. Let's go to Paul. Paul is first up on PTL. Hello, Paul.
Oh, hi there, Brian. Hi, Leonard.
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
Paul?
Paul, what's
Thanks for
going on?
taking the call. Lots going on. I just wanted to call, guys, about this. That's your first guest.
Yes.
I have a very different opinion than you, Brian. I think he's a very bad person. This guy, he's the real.
I kind of agree with you on that.
He's the old, wolf dressed in sheep's clothing. I think he's part of the whole epidemic that is propagated Trump and elevated into this position. A religious man purporting to support a monster. Now, to me, to be honest, it's a character defect if you support Trump. I mean, I said to my son, if he ever brought home a girlfriend who supported Trump, because he used to date an American, I'd say I'd have a real problem with it. But this guy, I think he speaks out both sides of his mouth. He didn't have clarity on the things he was talking about to you, Brian. He just didn't have clarity.
He didn't.
How can you look at J6 and say try and come up with the old Trump said go peacefully? Let me debunk that one instantly. And I've done this before in your show.
Yeah.
187 minutes it took for him to actually make any attempt to stop it. And when he did stop it, when he did release a video, they all went home meekly. That's how much power he had over that mob. He had the power. He could have done it within 5 minutes of him sitting his ass back in his chair in the bloody restaurant room in the White House.
Paul, can I ask you a question and pivot a little bit? Since you're from the UK, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
What do you think of Keir Starmer? Is he going to survive for protecting Mandelson from the Epstein investigation?
Great question. Great question. Let me tell you, this is hold up a mirror here, Leonard. In Britain, we don't like people. People like this who've got the smell of this on them get put down. They don't survive these things. I think Keir Starmer was hanging on by a thread. If you saw him in the Commons, he was getting roasted. And we don't have this civilized 5-minute talk, everybody's got to be quiet thing that you get.
Paul, does he get to say, does the leader of the UK get to say that I was lied to and I didn't know, and the sun was in my eyes and my glove was stuck in the fence and those kinds of things?
Nobody lives in this country. When you're involved with a thing like this, you're guilty until proven innocent, I'm afraid. This is where high power has a price. The price is you need to keep your nose clean. Because if you've got even a whiff of this type of scandal on you, you go down.
Right. So you don't think he'll survive? Thanks,
yeah,
Paul.
He doesn't think so. Paul, always great to hear from you, my friend, and I do appreciate your call, and I understand why you come to that conclusion. I really do. Let's go to Casey. Casey is next up on PTL. Hi, Casey. Casey, go right ahead.
Hey, Brian. Always good to talk to you. Well, first off, I want to apologize as a Floridian for Pam Bondi to your listeners. I apologize that I'm embarrassed to be a Floridian. We have Rhonda Santos, our favorite drag queen too, that runs. I mean, we've been under Republican rule for 25 years. And I want to apologize to the world of these right-wing clowns that have ran Florida.
Not your fault. Not your fault. It's the idiots who elected her into office to begin with. I mean, she is probably the most despicable. There are a lot of despicable people, but I put her right up there with Stephen Miller. I mean, I just think she's an awful person.
Brian,
awful.
She was under investigation as Attorney General when she was in Florida. Like,
right.
It boggles my mind. And then this thing with a couple of the investigations with Trump, I think it was Trump University that she stopped I think even one of the Epstein things back when she was Attorney General, that she didn't let it go forward. If I was right, am I talking out of my hat?
No, you're right. And this is what this really comes down to. She would rather protect. And by the way, she knew that Trump was all over the Epstein files. She knew that there was some incriminating evidence in there. She would rather protect Donald Trump than give justice to the victims. You have to be a sick human being to think like that. And this is almost everybody in the Trump administration. They all knew this.
She disbanded the entire unit that investigates cryptocurrency fraud.
And by the way,
she disbanded the entire unit.
Investigators were investigating blood spatter of Renee Good the other day, and Kash Patel told them to stop investigating. They would rather protect Donald Trump and his ICE agents and his thugs than rather properly investigate an innocent 37-year-old woman that was shot in the face and murdered. These are horrible human beings. They're terrible. They're terrible people.
We hope that karma catches up with them someday. Thanks, Casey.
It's just so disgusting. Casey, you have no reason to apologize because you sound like a nice man, and it's certainly not your fault. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Kathy. Kathy is next up on PTL. Hey, Kathy, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you? Hold
Good.
on, I'm trying to pause you. I'm good. I am in California, and that fool you had on that's running for governor, I was outraged. There is no way in hell sorry for saying that word.
That's okay.
He is going to win.
You think he was a Christian, like he said, like God talked to him and he's a devout Christian and it's all about, Christianity and the Bible. You think that he was just full of it, or you think he was a real Christian?
It possibly could be a real Christian, but not a real Christian. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so.
There's false Christianity. You know what I mean?
Oh, he was definitely.
I don't know. I don't
just
know how anybody, and I'm talking about Democrats or Republicans, anybody could run for office. And by the way, we're not talking about some local assembly person. We're talking about governor, and not know how many people or around how many people were arrested on January 6th, not having basic facts and thinking, and you can't even tell me who won a free and fair election in 2020.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't
come
ready.
on.
No, because they're all blinded. They have blinders on for Donald Trump, who is.
What did you think of his comments about women, Kathy, about saying telling women you have to have that baby and not even discussing the circumstances under which they might want to get an abortion? What do you think of that?
I think that, well, first of all, I think he's full of the S word. I got to say that because anybody who condones rape or incest and says you have to and forces a woman, no matter what age she is, a child that got raped or an adult woman or whatever, and there's so many circumstances of why you have to have an abortion.
My dear, I am completely in agreement of you, but have no fear. I will promise you this man has absolutely no chance to win. So there's other things to worry about, my dear. Be safe out there. I want to go to the YouTube super chat before we get to our next caller, Johnny. So why don't we do that? Leonard, you are my YouTube chat extraordinaire. You do a great job. So have at it. I think Numchuck.
Let's start with Shelly. Shelly's one of our favorites. She's a regular listener. Brian, Darlene, and I will be watching tonight. So you have a few people in your corner. For Ven, you need to call in. I know Brian's intimidating. Oh, so she's telling someone in the room who made that comment about you about forcing the delusions. Yeah, she's challenging that person to call in.
Go ahead. There's probably a few more. I think there's a few more Numchuck has put up there on the super chat, Leonard, if you'd like to read them.
It looks like Electric Dad said Jim Jordan is great at covering up Chomos?
I don't know, but he's very good at covering up certainly children
illegal
or
behavior.
Young men being sexually abused.
Well, that's what the whole hearing is about.
Former,
covering for pedophiles.
Yeah, as a former assistant wrestling coach, he's
Lori, who's a regular contributor, says she wouldn't apologize to the victims of Epstein, meaning Pam Bundy. Yeah. She was so arrogant. I'm from California. I'm not going to vote for the pastor. Thanks, guys. Yeah, well, that's pretty obvious. And she's rude. The thing is, they have a decorum there that they've had for hundreds of years. Yeah. And she's just downright rude and insulting.
Completely agree. Leonard, I think there's one more that Numchuck has put up, if you'd like to read that one as well.
This is Hannah Montan. Pam Bondi is immature, arrogant, and dishonest. She doesn't care about protecting survivors. All she cares about is insulting others and her stupid little burn book. Yeah. She sucks at lying. She just comes off as petulant. Yes, and I would say that she is a queen of ad hominem. Wasn't that a subject yesterday?
It was. I appreciate the YouTube super chats. We'll continue to read them throughout the show. Let's now go to Johnny. Brian. Johnny is next up on PTL. Hello, Johnny.
Hi, Brian. I've recently been watching or listening to your show, and because I'm kind of new to it, may I ask you a few questions about your show and how it runs?
I mean, I guess so. It's a little weird and off topic, but if you do it quickly, go right ahead.
Well, it's not, because I notice at any time that you have any video, not videos, but the audio that you play of anyone in government, why are you always against them? It seems like You
Really?
never take the government.
I played audio of plenty of Democrats that were asking questions during Joe Biden's administration. I played plenty of audio from people on the left, so I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. The president of the United States happens to be a Republican, and members of his staff happen to be Republicans. So I play audio from the left every single day. So I don't know what that means, and I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Earlier when you were playing the videos,
because Pam Bondi was testifying. Yes. You do know who's Pam Bondi? Who is she?
She runs the law.
Okay, she doesn't. Hold on. She doesn't. Hey. Thank you. She doesn't run the law. She's the Attorney General. So why was I playing that audio today? Why do you think I was playing that?
No. My question I'm asking is, you listen to them, but you never take their side, and we need to be listening to our government.
I never take. Okay, so hold on. I need to take the side of every single person in our government, no matter what they say or what they do. All right, let's use that as an example, dummy. Howard Lutnick was seen on Epstein Island. He's in the Epstein files. Just last week, he lied about it and said he never spoke to Jeffrey Epstein. He never went to Epstein Island. He made those assumptions. He lied. So now should I just take the word of Howard Lutnick because he works for the government? At least now he still does, according to you.
Well, maybe not him. But
maybe not him. Okay, so
Brian, you play clips of Trump, of the Speaker of the House.
Has Tim Bondi?
Who's
done
Tim? Who's Tim? Who's Tim Bondi?
Kim Bondi?
Kim?
Pam.
The lady that's the Attorney General, the Bondi.
Yeah, dummy. It's Pam Bondi, okay? And she doesn't run the law. Yeah. Thank you.
So
yes.
when Pam Bondi hasn't done anything, so we should take a word for it. And quite frankly,
wait. What?
What? Listening to you. Well, Pam Bondi hasn't done anything that's been a lie, so we need to take a word for it.
That's not true.
Pam Bondi, can you ask me? Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why has Pam Bondi not ordered any of her staff to interview any of the victims in the Epstein files? Why has she not interviewed any of the alleged pedophiles in the Epstein files? Can you answer that question, please? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell still in a Club Med facility after she pled the fifth and she said she wouldn't answer any questions unless she gets a pardon?
Why is she withholding co-conspirator information?
Why, sir?
Even as we speak.
Why, Johnny?
Brian,
Why? Johnny.
What I'm finding out is the fact that, quite frankly, like when you discuss the ICE and everything going on in Minneapolis, I find that, quite honestly, to be a pretty good start to what they're doing, if you see what I did.
Do you think it's a good start? Hold on. Do you think it's a good start to shoot innocent 37-year-old women in the face and shoot unarmed men in the back 10 times? You would consider that to be a good start?
Well, they should not have run away, and then the ICE people are doing.
Johnny, do you believe that all Mexicans should be kicked out of the country? Do you think all Mexicans and all Hispanic people should get the heck out? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you think?
Okay,
because I'm pretty sure that's what he thinks.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
What do you say?
Supposed to be here.
Hold on. Was Alex Preddy trying to run away? You just said they deserved it if they ran away. So if an 8-year-old
can't shoot someone.
So if a 16-year-old kid is running away from cops, does he deserve to be shot in the back? Going by your standards,
you can't do it. It's illegal.
Yeah. Leonard is a 25-year vet here in the police force. So I'm asking you. You said they were running away, and that was your excuse. Was Alex Preddy running away? By the way, you're wrong about that. But let's just, for argument's sake, was Alex Preddy running away?
I believe he wasn't attacking their car.
No. What? No, you have no idea what you're talking about. That was 11 days earlier where he kicked a car. And just because you kick a car doesn't mean that you deserve to be executed. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I believe he should be.
Okay, hold on. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Let me guess. You're a Trump supporter, right? You voted for Donald Trump. Yep. Is that correct?
All 3 times.
Okay, great. So you just said if you kick a car, you deserve to be executed.
No, I said if you attack a car.
Okay,
you're saying that if somebody does a misdemeanor and attacks a car and kicks it, that you should shoot and kill him?
Let's go by that. Let's go by that.
You can't do
Leonard.
Well, I think we're
hold on, Johnny. Gotcha. So Johnny, according by your standards, if you kick a car, you deserve to be executed. What if you assault a police officer?
Well, I think that if you assault a police officer, they should shoot to kill.
Okay, but all those police officers that were beaten with their own batons on January 6th, Donald Trump pardoned them and called them hostages and patriots. Did you have a problem with that?
We're getting off topic.
No.
It's right on topic.
We are
right on topic.
We'll go back to.
He's trying to show your hypocrisy.
We'll go back to ICE in a moment, but you're going to answer my question or the conversation. No, you're going to answer my question. You just said if you kicked a car, which is, in my opinion, a misdemeanor.
Which was off topic.
Right. But because Alex Preddy, when he was.
That's what happened to the people in Minnesota with the ice.
By the way, did
they're
Alex Preddy kick a car when he was shot and killed that day?
I thought that's when they
No.
killed him.
So you don't even know what you're talking about. But let me go back to that original question, which you dodged. You said that if you kicked a car, that would defend somebody shooting you 10 times in the back and killing you. My question to you is, if you assaulted a police officer on January 6th, are they hostages and patriots?
I'm surprised that the cops didn't shoot everyone else.
What?
I can't even understand. You can't even
put
a coherent
The police
sentence
showed, what
together.
he's saying is the police showed restraint on that day. That's what he's saying. And they didn't decide to kill Americans. And they didn't decide. They were being sprayed with bear spray.
Sir, do you care about someone's First, Second, and Fourth Amendment rights? Does that matter to you, Johnny?
No. All the rights matter.
Okay, so when somebody goes up,
though.
when somebody goes up to somebody, an ICE agent, because of their accent, which, by the way, Tom Homan has already admitted to, they're targeting people because of their accent and the color of their skin, which is, by the way, racial profiling, and they ask them for their proper paperwork, which is against their.
Is it racial profiling if they're illegals?
No,
yes,
sir.
it is.
No,
yes,
sir.
it is. On the original contact, yes, it is.
Right. So if you don't
It's
have
absolutely racist.
if you don't have reasonable or articulable
That's correct.
suspicion, are you okay with taking away someone's Fourth Amendment rights? That's my question. Answered it.
Well, if you're not supposed to be here legally,
They are.
you really don't have rights.
See, you have rights. According to Johnny, Brian, you have rights. Like certain people in America have rights, but not everybody.
I agree. So Johnny, I need you to Johnny, hang on. I need you to understand.
That's not
Johnny,
what the Constitution
Johnny,
says,
I need you to understand
Johnny.
something. They're going after people that are also American citizens. They're asking people for their paperwork and detaining people that are American citizens. Are you not aware of this?
Well, until you prove who you are, how do we know if you're legal or not?
So are you okay with law enforcement randomly going up to people, asking them for their paperwork and documents, if they're legal or not, with no reasonable or articulable suspicion that they've committed a crime other than the fact that they are maybe brown or have an accent? Are you okay with that? Do you want to live in Nazi Germany? So you want to live in Nazi Germany. What's your religion, if you don't mind me asking?
Is he a racist?
What's your religion, sir?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Are you Jewish by chance?
Well, that has nothing to do.
Oh no, it has everything to do with it, because you're saying that you want to live in an era like Nazi Germany where they go up to random people and ask them for their paperwork.
Where are your papers?
Yeah, which is despicable. Despicable what you are saying. It's insane.
Can I
what
ask
you are
Johnny
saying.
a question?
Go ahead.
Do you believe that all brown people should leave this country? Do you believe that children should starve if their parents can't afford to feed them, that the government should not intervene? They should, starve. Are you that kind of person? Because that's what you sound like.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that could be done in other situations.
What does
Johnny,
that mean?
Johnny,
what does that even mean?
Johnny, do you have a Klan rally you need to go to tonight? I'm being serious. Like, seriously, do you have a white hoodie in your closet? Answer that
You sound
question.
racist, Johnny.
I've noticed you've always gone to that.
No, only with people like you who
Brian.
sound like only with people like you who sound like
he didn't say that
racist
to the
bigots.
last two callers. He didn't say it to
I didn't
them.
say that to them. I'm saying it to you because you sound like an imbecile. You sound like a racist. You sound like a Klansman. You sound like a Grand Wizard. You're totally okay with going up to random people.
No, I sound like an American.
No,
you sound like an un-American.
You are not American.
You sound like an anti-American.
You are an idiot,
I'm
and
very American.
you are a racist.
You're
fool.
anti-American.
You're anti-American.
God bless America. I'm very American.
You know what? Due process applies to everybody, Johnny, not just the people you want it to apply to. You don't have to be a citizen to have due process. You're wrong.
Johnny, I want to say this in closing. You are exactly not what America is all about. America is about diversity and freedoms and the fact that we have a constitution. You seem to be against many of the rights that you claimed you were
Civil
for.
rights, exactly.
You want to live in Nazi Germany? Then go ahead. Let's rewind time and let you live back in the Nazi Germany days. But those are not the days that I want today. You're a right-wing mushroom Trump gobbling fool, and good luck at your Klan rally tonight. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Brian. How you doing, man? I ain't talked to you in a while.
Hi, Dave. What's up?
Hey, so do you listen to this Pam Bondi chick?
I mean, I tried to.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for about a half hour.
I tried to.
Oh my God, she's so freaking out there. That chick is sold her soul to the devil.
You think she's rude? You think she was rude, Dave, to congressmen and people who have spent their whole life trying to help others?
Exactly. And this is what happens when you don't get no goddamn accountability. These people need to be held accountable.
They won't.
And I mean, every
we don't
one
know.
of them.
May take years.
I don't think they will, and I don't know if Donald Trump will be around in the days where there'll be some accountability. I hope he is, but Dave, I hear what you're saying, and we all want accountability, and just as important, if not more important, we want justice for the victims. Now let's go to one Dave to another. Let's go to David. David is next on PTO. Hello, David.
Hey, Brian. I think this was maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date, but I know on Twitter you DM'd Rachel Wilson, who's Andrew's wife, Andrew Wilson's wife, and you asked her about her sex life between her and her husband. Is that really appropriate?
Didn't ask her. So here's why we got into that. And by the way, thank you for being on topic, David. I really appreciate that because that's definitely what we're talking about today. I know that's more prevalent to you. I know that my DMs are more prevalent to you than the Epstein victims and what took place in
He's
DC
trying to
today.
do a gotcha.
But that's okay, David. I will still answer your question.
Okay, sure.
I don't apologize for anything I said to Rachel Wilson. Here's why.
Okay.
Every single day, she tells other women how to live their lives, and she calls herself a Christian when she has 3 baby daddies. Every single day, she attempts to, and sadly does, attack others without knowing their personal situation. She has 3 baby daddies, and I made it a point to say, you're far from perfect. According to Christianity, you haven't led your life the right way. And then she decided to attack me on my, and then, no, I'm getting to that if you will listen. I'm getting to that if you will listen and stop interrupting me. She then decided to attack my physical appearance, and she spread rumors about me and articles about me by idiots with 8 followers that claim that I abuse women, that I sexually assault women, and some other horrible things that I'm not even going to mention. By the way, all of it not true. She put that on her Twitter page. So when somebody decides to go personal with me, you're damn right I'm going to go personal back. So let me be very clear.
Okay.
So hold on.
The gotcha didn't work.
Okay, gotcha didn't work. Let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. I'm going to double down on everything that I ever said to her in DMs. Okay. And the reason why I am, and I find it interesting that you're defending her after I gave you some context.
I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm not defending her at all.
Okay. So let me be very, I tried to give you an answer and you're not paying attention.
You gave me an answer. That's fine. I believe
she is a hypocrite. Hold on, David. She is a hypocrite. And the reason why she's a hypocrite is because she tells other women how to live their lives and how they're not real Christians when she has 3 baby daddies, when she attacks. Okay. So I'm sorry, David, if you don't like my language towards her, but now let me ask you a question. By the way, David is the same guy who calls into this show because he thought my DMs were rude to Rachel Wilson. David, hold on a second. David, you voted for Donald Trump, did you not?
Yep, I knew.
You did. Okay. See, because no, it's not whataboutism. It's the fact that David,
a lot about you.
You are a hypocrite. No, David, you have a problem with a radio host, and you don't like my DMs to somebody by the name of Rachel Wilson, but you have no problem voting for a guy who bragged about grabbing women by the genitals, who's named 3,000 times in the Epstein files. But you didn't decide to call into the show to talk about the victims or the fact that the Trump administration.
I'm just asking.
Oh, and I'm just asking. And now I answered you. And now it's my turn. And I answered you, and I doubled. And I answered it, and I don't. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Okay. Excuse me, sir. I did double down on it. Now we've moved past that, and I gave you my answer. And I don't care what your opinion is on my DMs with Rachel Wilson, because I think she's a despicable individual. Now, would you like to talk about the, rape survivors?
Right, go ahead. Change your subject.
No,
you don't.
No.
Well, can I just say something to David?
No, hold on a second. I'm not embarrassed at all. I just
you are. You called her a slut.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me. So first of all, don't use that language because we have FCC regulations here.
My apologies.
Okay. I don't care. I don't care about your apologies. I don't care about your apologies. Shut up and listen. Okay.
Sure.
I don't care if you think I made inappropriate comments in my DM to what I consider to be. Let me finish and stop interrupting me for the last time. I don't care whether you think the comments that I made to somebody who I think is a hypocrite and a despicable individual are quote unquote inappropriate. What I care more about is the leader of the free world who you still support, who is enabling pedophiles.
Right, I know. Trump
so I want to know. No. I want to ask you a question. I know you don't want to talk about Trump. You want to talk about my DMs because you're an idiot. No, I'm going to pod you down for a moment, sir, because you don't stop interrupting me and you need to shut up. Very inappropriate, sir, your behavior. You decided to call into the show because you didn't like a few choice words I used describing a woman that I think is despicable and a hypocrite. But you don't want to talk about the Epstein files. You think it's whataboutism. You support the guy who's named over 3,000 times in the Epstein files. You support the guy and his administration who refused to interview any of the victims, who have redacted pedophile names. But you decided to call into the show because I called somebody the B word. How do you look at yourself in the mirror, David?
Can I answer? You're going to mute me again.
David, answer.
Can I answer, David? Can I just say something real quick? Because I've been sitting here and your question was, why did he do that? And Brian's not going to say this about himself. He did it because that's what a grown-up does. That's what a man does. You may not let me finish, David. That's what a man does. If he has a problem with someone, he contacts them and he has communication with them. And even though it didn't go well and it was a tough conversation, that's what a real man does. Instead of running and hiding like you and calling into a public radio station and making accusations, trying to gotcha Brian, and he was ready for you. It was embarrassing for you. He was a man about it. That's what happened.
And again, I'll repeat myself. Shut up, David. I'll repeat myself one more time so David and his MAGA wax out of his ears can pay attention. When somebody falsely accuses me of horrific crimes, which I've never been charged or convicted of a crime in my life, I'm going to come at you twice as hard. And David, if you're a snowflake and you don't like it, you're the same guy who enables pedophiles and defends Donald Trump.
It was the adult thing to do, Brian. That's what you did. Yeah. That's what adults do. They talk to the person, and even if it's confrontational, they talk to the person. So what do you have anything interesting to ask or add?
No, he doesn't.
Because that was just a waste of time. Even the live chat, people are like, we went over this already. So do you have anything interesting?
I bet you he doesn't, but we'll give him the opportunity.
Just to be clear, the adult thing is calling her a slut.
That's not what I said.
Here we go again.
I specifically mentioned communication. I said when you're an adult and you're a grown man, you talk to someone and you communicate.
David.
Okay, that's what he did. You wanted to know why he talked to her.
So, David, we've now been through this, and I answered all of your questions. And to answer Leonard's question, because I don't think you're capable, do you have anything of substance? Like, does it bother you about the news of the day? Because I know you think, and this is, by the way, the last time I'm going to do this with you or anybody. Either you call into the show and you're on.
Want to get your pants down again?
Caught with my pants
down. What
is he talking about? David, not only
David, if you think that it's okay to protect pedophiles,
David, not only did I answer your questions, but I doubled down on them. I'm not hiding from anything. I've already answered
your questions. You're doing the opposite, Brian.
And you're doing I'm doing the opposite of that. Not only am I not hiding away from it, I've kept you on the line for like 10, 15 minutes. And I've doubled down on all those comments, and I've given you pretext as why I said what I said, and I don't apologize for anything, and I'm doubling down on it. Now that we've gotten past that, and I don't give two craps whether you disagree with me or not. Oh, yeah, we did. Maybe. Okay, so David, here's the thing.
Yeah. So you have anything interesting?
So if you have anything of substance that's actually on topic now that I've answered your stupid questions, the next question by David is, what do you think is what's a man and what's a woman? That's David's next question. What's a man and what's a woman? David, if you have anything on topic, if you have anything,
I bet he's not married.
If you have anything,
I bet he's single.
David, if you have anything on topic, David,
I bet he's always been single.
Actually, I'm not single, David. But
no, I meant single without dating.
Hold on a second, David,
with no dating.
Okay, so hold on a second, David. I'm going to give you one more opportunity, and I don't care what you think about who I'm dating or whether I'm married or not. I don't care what your opinions are on that.
But David, what Rachel, who she dates and marries and sleeps with.
Okay, yeah. So we're going back to that conversation again. David?
Oh my God!
Are you going back?
Can we please move on to something interesting?
David, I've answered all of your questions, and now you're going back to it again, which means you're not capable of having any conversation of any intellect at all.
He's a waste.
So, David, you're a waste. David, you're a waste of my time. Okay.
It was a good try, but you missed. You missed, David.
I don't apologize for anything I said to Andrew Wilson's wife. Maybe you should call into Andrew Wilson's show and ask him why he didn't post our 4.5-hour debate. Maybe you should ask Rachel why she attacks Democrats and women and people on the left and tells people how they should live their lives every day when she has 3 baby daddies. Maybe you should ask her why she posts articles that are completely false and fake about
ask
me
Andrew why he didn't post a debate in the first place.
Maybe you should ask her those questions. But David, you won't do that. You know why? Because you're a right-wing Trump mushroom gobbler. I don't hide away from anything. You're an absolute imbecile, and it bothers you if I call the woman on social media the B word more than I guess than it would bother you that there are hundreds of victims in the Epstein files, and there's been absolutely zero accountability. But that doesn't bother David at all.
Good try, David. You tried and you missed. Come back with something better next time.
I don't think he's capable, Leonard. I really don't.
Because if he was capable, he would have, right?
Yeah.
You gave him the opportunity and said, okay, I answered your question. I doubled down. Now, do you have anything interesting to say? Well, you know, you were talking in her DMs. It's like, okay, we already went over that.
And by the way, she made the DMs public, which I really don't
care. His question was, why
but
did you do that?
Let me be very clear. Some people might not like my style. It's not going to change who I am. I treat people the way they treat me. And this woman spread false allegations and despicable things about me and my family on her social media page. And I don't care if somebody attacks my appearance. I mean, you know, I don't really care about that. But if you're going to get personal with me, I'm going to hit back 5 times harder. And it bothered her so much that she released not all the DMs, but just some of them, because she tried to make me look bad. And let me be very clear, and I'll repeat that for David and any of these Andrew Wilson mushroom gobbling fools. I don't apologize for anything I said. I will defend everything I say. And I am a very outspoken and opinionated person.
And you didn't talk about her behind her back.
If you don't like it, or Rachel Wilson doesn't like it, or anybody in Andrew Wilson's orbit doesn't like it, you could shove it up your ass. I don't care.
And you didn't talk about her behind her back.
Let's move on now. Let's take some other calls. Let's go to Jaden. Jaden is next up on PTL. Hey, Jaden, what's up? Jaden, go right ahead. Jaden, you got to lower your radio, please. Everybody's got to lower your radio. Jaden, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, just about like these Epstein files and the hearing today from Cambodia. I mean, it was just like she was just being obviously so outrageous, so ridiculous. I mean, like, and she is obviously clearly not protecting the victims and protecting all of the perpetrators and stuff. I mean, clearly, and she was lying on the stand. I mean, like, shouldn't you go to jail for that? Isn't that like penalty of perjury? I mean, I don't know. I mean, she was just a complete disgrace. All these people who are protecting the perpetrators, not the victims. I just as a woman, it's just so disgraceful to me. I'm like, these victims, like, they need justice, and there's like no one has been held accountable for that. It's just like, it's really like.
Well, that's the worst part.
Anyone can agree with that.
That's the worst part of our. Well, the last caller probably agrees with it, but that's the worst part of this administration, in my eyes, is that there's going to be very little accountability.
Well, you know, something that could happen, Jaden, is even though there probably won't be any criminal charges, and if there are, she'll be pardoned. However, somewhere down the road, the victims can still sue her civilly for what she did to them, for refusing to investigate, for refusing to hear what they had to say, for refusing to back them, and for putting out misinformation and putting out their personal information, oops, by mistake. I believe they can sue her civilly for that, and I don't think anyone can stop that.
Yeah,
and hopefully it'll be for millions.
I appreciate you. Thank you for the phone call. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse is next up on PTL. Hey, Jesse, what's up? Hi, Jesse. Go right ahead. Jesse, are you there?
Yep. How's it going?
Hey, Jesse, what's up?
Good. Yeah, good question. I live about 2 hours north of the cities in Brainerd, Minnesota. And I was curious, do you think that ICE will get that far north?
I hope the answer is no. I don't know if Leonard has an opinion on that.
What do you mean that far north?
Well, does he think that they're going to be moving to that to an area that would be more north? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, they're targeting, Democratic run cities, Democratic
mayors. They're already up here. I was just worried that they may start bringing the big guys up here and shit. Excuse the language.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the language.
Okay, Trump said that he plans on having a reaction force of officers in every state by April of this year. That's a statement that he made. all 50 states. Stephen Miller backed him up. So I would say no matter where you are, you can probably expect to see some kind of government, just like 1933, just like the 1930s, where Hitler did it to occupy every corner of the country so he could watch everyone and what was going on and get rid of the people that he said didn't belong there.
Yeah, if that makes sense. I appreciate the call. I get this from Trump supporters all the time. Well, they'll say, Brian, you called somebody a buffoon. Brian, you called somebody the B word. Brian, how could you insult somebody like that? Yet they support the insulter in chief. Like they're the biggest hypocrites in the world.
Who insulted more than Pam Bondi?
Yeah,
today?
and I'm not the president of the United States.
And she's the attorney general in Congress.
They voted for Donald Trump, who attacks Gold Star families, women of color. He tells women to go back to their S-hole countries, women of color, some of whom were born here in America. He attacks everyone and anyone that disagrees with him. He says, if you're Jewish and you didn't vote for me, you need your head examined.
And she's saying that the congressmen who were elected by 1.5 to 2 million people, they're representing a large group of people. And she's talking to them like they never did anything in their life.
And Leonard, these are the people who voted for Donald Trump, the leader of the free world. But some guy who does a talk show, they have a problem with somebody who does a talk show calling a woman a name through DM, which, by the way, I don't regret anything I said. I'm doubling down on it, and I can give you reasons why. But they're the biggest hypocrites in the world. And it's like, how do you even have conversations with these people? Well, I voted for Donald Trump, who attacked POWs and Gold Star families and bragged about grabbing women by the genitals. But I don't like that guy, Brian, who does a show because Brian called a woman a bad name on social media in their DM. I mean, give me a break. Give me an effing break, you hypocrites, you idiots, you. Let's go to Jason. Jason is text. What's up, Jason?
Now allow me, because just to present a little soliloquy, and then after that, you want me to answer a question, I shall.
We're having a really hard time understanding you. Okay, keep going. Go ahead.
Listen, I jet this flew by Nellis Air Force Base, so that's why I did some crazy jets. But allow me just to present a soliloquy, and after that, if you need me, if you want to answer, I want me to answer a question, I shall. But my heart is broken today because I heard that, Pastor, and this is the reason why Christianity is dying. Because this man in the Bible says, in his spirit and truth do I call thee. And so this pastor is following a liar, number one. Number two, when you ask him about the Bible says don't add or take away. Trump added the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to the Bible. That man should have condemned that off top. That shows you how he's not a pastor. I feel bad for his parishioners because he doesn't know the word truly. And last but not least, Pam Bondi and everybody else that call themselves Christians are lying. And when you lie, that means you don't even know who God is. You are living in reprobation or iniquity. And so I feel bad for all the people that think they know God and actually don't know nothing about him. And that concludes Trump, Pam Bondi, and that pastor you just had on. They're all a joke. And last but not least, I do not believe in abortion. I don't. But you know what I do believe in? If a 9-year-old that is raped by her father shouldn't be forced to give birth. So that is, to me, disgusting that any pastor has the right to say some father raped his daughter and she should have the baby. And some girls at 9-year-old are pubescent. So you're telling me a 9-year-old, which her body's not fully developed,
well, obviously, yeah.
That man should be shot.
Obviously, Jason, I certainly agree with the premise of that. I think I agree with you. It's disgusting how.
What does it say about people who support that?
No rape or incest, and there's no exceptions.
What kind of people support that?
That's insane.
What kind of people say you got raped? Well,
the
you're going to have to have a baby anyway.
The same people that are defending Donald Trump when it comes to the Epstein stuff. The same people that defend Pam Bondi. The same people like David who call into the show.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah. Trump fellatio syndrome is what I call it. Let's go. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that number is 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next. Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. Go right ahead.
Mark,
are you there?
You're on.
Yeah. How's it going, Brian? Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I had to take you off Bluetooth. Hey, man, you guys have been crazy busy. I've been wanting to call you guys last week when you had Leonard on. But I had a quick question for Leonard.
Okay.
Question I was wondering if it was involving the Alex Peretti incident, but Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, I mean, what's the protocol normally when, you know, they're suspecting somebody with a weapon? I mean, I saw like obviously see like a 5-6 agents, you know, beating the snot out of him, but wouldn't they immediately try cuffing him? I mean, if there's suspicion of a gun, like what's police protocol?
Well, the police protocol is exactly what they were doing. They had 4 guys taking him down. He was on all fours, and then someone discovered, from what I understand, there was a gun in the back of his pants, and withdrew it to make everything safe. Alex never touched the gun or went for it, and from what I understand, he may have yelled gun, and that's when people started shooting. And in my opinion, it's because they're not well trained. They don't understand the law. They're not being selective about what kind of people they're hiring and whether or not they can handle the emotionality of getting into a conflict. And so they should not have made contact in the first place. And when they made contact, I mean, it was a misdemeanor. Even if he was interfering, it's a misdemeanor. And the only reason they shot him, in my opinion, was they panicked. And then there's sympathetic reflex, which is one officer starts shooting and the other one starts shooting out of some kind of reflex. But that's only because they weren't well trained.
Yeah, I mean, I always hear everybody throw the, you know, oh, you should have been compliant, but they're beating the snot out of him. And I would think, I mean, living in California, we see police chases all the time. When they catch somebody, there's 5-6 officers that cuff them right away. I mean,
yeah, and no reason to shoot him. He was losing the fight. He was losing. They had him. He was down. He wasn't hurting anybody. And so why would you back off and put 10 rounds into him? Makes no sense.
Yeah, I was just arguing against the whole, what people say that he was resisting. I don't see that at all, because any officer, I believe, would have cuffed him immediately if they believe that.
Yeah, so obviously,
what we see is the general public.
And it was a misdemeanor, even if he was resisting.
So obviously,
you can't use deadly force for a misdemeanor.
Obviously, I agree with you, caller. I mean, we both have 2 eyes here. And what I saw was a man who was trying to help a woman up off the ground, who was assaulted by multiple officers, being kicked and punched in the head. He never brandished his weapon, and they shot him in the back, and they executed him.
He was down. There was no threat.
It was horrible. It was horrible to watch that, just as horrible as was to watch the Renee Good shooting. And it's very difficult to have to talk about these topics. At the same time, I want justice. I want justice for the victims. These people are sick. These are sick individuals. I just want to quickly read Terrence Jones, who said, Brian and Leonard, did y'all hear about the father in Prosper, Texas, who killed his daughter because she talked bad about Trump? Yes, I did. But you won't hear that from Donald Trump. You won't hear that from anybody in Donald Trump's administration. You certainly won't hear that.
Who's encouraging violence? Which side?
Yeah, I guess they're going to blame the liberals. Maybe they'll blame the liberals for that one too. I mean,
which side has a domestic terrorist?
These people are sick individuals, and I feel horrible for this woman and what happened to her. Bok Choy has no shot getting elected in North Korea, let alone California, says Electric Dad. I'm not, and I think we have one more that we are going to be getting to.
Did David
here.
Donate money?
Yeah, I'm not going to read his. I'm not going to read his.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, David, you're not going to be getting your $4.99 back either. But I'm not even going to read your comment because you're a complete imbecile.
You don't have to read it. That's not one of the. That's not one of the rules.
Yeah. Good luck getting that $4.99 back, David. I'm going to put that towards maybe
put it in the slots.
Yeah. Maybe
just take it and throw it right in the slot.
I'll put that in the fund for maybe get some posters written, calling Rachel Wilson some names, some posters that are written. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, 702-221-SAVE. I believe Terry is next up on PTL. Hey, Terry, what's up?
Hey, Brian, Leonard. Good afternoon. I tell you, today, I'm exhausted. This country, I feel like it's a train wreck. I mean, the behavior of Pam Bondi, despicable, just absolutely no respect during that whole hearing, just so disrespectful to the people. I just, I'm 70 years old and I've watched a lot of those. I just can't comprehend it. I really can't. And I'm to the point now where I don't believe anything they come out with, any data. Like they're saying there were 130,000 jobs created.
I don't believe that either.
I don't believe it. I cannot believe anything anymore. And I think the thing that I'm still not over is the photo that Donald Trump put up about with the Obamas. And I just can't get beyond that. I mean, anyway.
You know, they tried to indict Mark Kelly and that other congresswoman for making statements to the military about not following legal orders. And you know what happened in the grand jury yesterday? They decided not to file any indictment.
I did hear that, so that was one good thing. But after that hearing today, I was just like,
she embarrassed our country.
There is no respect at all. And I'm one of the callers who called in and said that she was under investigation before she even took office. And I'm thinking, well, that's her qualifying feature. You know, if you're under investigation or you had some kind of criminal background, Trump would love to have you in his cabinet. Oh my gosh. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
702-221-7283.
It was embarrassing.
702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE, as I am very nearly losing my voice and I have another debate to do tonight. So yeah, it never ends. 702-221-SAVE.
You need some throat coat.
I do.
You ever have it?
I do. I'll try some. Let's go to Larry. Larry is next up on PTL. Hi, Larry.
Good to see you guys again. Hear you rather, Leonard and Brian. You don't know how to communicate, Brian. You don't know how to communicate, Brian. Is that how for you?
Yeah, that's a good impersonation.
Well, he gets paid to communicate, and he gets paid well, so I would have to argue that is not an accurate statement.
Yeah.
Right on, man. I commend Brian on his debating skills. I would love to see him and Ted Cruz go at it.
Oh, God.
Ted Cruz.
From Cancun.
Listen, these facilities are not jails for people in the swamp.
Supposedly he was like the debating champion. I think he went to Princeton.
Yeah, I bet.
But, total Ivy League kind of guy.
Get him to call in. Tell him to call in.
I once interviewed Eric Swalwell on this show last year, and Eric Swalwell told me he gave Swalwell a high five and said he was doing a wonderful job in the men's restroom. This guy's the biggest.
Oh my goodness.
This guy's the biggest two-faced prick you can find. And when Donald Trump, you want to talk about people who attack women, Donald Trump attacks the looks of Ted Cruz's wife, and Ted Cruz has been coddling him for years.
Totally hypocritical.
Yeah.
But keep up the good work, guys. I know that the country's in a state of rupture, to quote the Canadian leader, and it's going to take years to recover.
We got it, Larry. We're not taking one step back. None of us. We're not stepping back.
Right on. Let's keep the good work going. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you. So tonight yes, I'm doing a live stream tonight, which is rare, but I'm going to start doing at least one a week. And debates, kind of like debate style stuff. Tonight on the show, a huge, staunch Trump supporter, prominent right winger. He's got his own podcast. His name is Tom Rentz. You can look him up. He's an attorney. And he's basically, if you want to talk about people who call women horrible names for no reason, he's attacked Kamala Harris, called her a whore, among other things. So I'm certainly going to get into it with him on a number of different topics. That might not be one of them.
Well, if he does that, then Trump's his guy. If that's what he does.
I guess you're right.
If he talks bad about women and talks about grabbing them and it's okay and forcibly kissing them, then Trump's his guy.
So we're going to have a live chat. It's 7 p.m. my time, which is PST time, Pacific Standard Time, which means it's going to start at 10, a little late on the East Coast.
On which platform?
10 o'clock. It's going to be on all my platforms. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on TikTok. It's going to be on X. It's going to be everywhere. And Facebook, of course, the Facebook fan page. I would say the two best places to watch. The best place, maybe YouTube and Facebook. Those are probably the top two. So I don't know how long it's going to go. It could go a while. I can't imagine it's going to go 4.5 hours like it did with Andrew Wilson. By the way, isn't that funny? All the things that I said to, and not to get back on this, but I do find this funny and interesting. All the things I said to Andrew's wife and all the things Andrew's wife said to me. Andrew still did a 4.5 hour debate with me. What does that say? Yeah, what does that say?
Well, I don't think he respects people.
I don't think he respects women.
Manner.
No, I certainly don't. But anyway, tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, a Duke It Out debate with Tom Rentz. So you're certainly not going to want to miss that.
It sounds like fun.
Well, we'll see. What's your definition of fun, Leonard? I don't know.
Probably my definition of fun would be someone coming on there, probably a little arrogant, thinking he's going to read you the riot act with a bunch of talking points, and you're gonna probably walk the dog and show him how debates are really done with facts and figures.
I won't clean up after him though. If he has to go to the restroom in the middle of the show, I won't do that.
Will you take a break if he's crying?
Maybe I don't know. But yeah, it should be interesting tonight. So we'll see how that goes. And again, it's going to be live. Like, I'm not Kid Rock. I don't pre-record. This is live. It's a live debate. I don't pre-record like what's his name? Is it Bobby? Bobby, right now, Kid Rock, also known as Bobby, who says it wasn't synced properly when he was lip syncing. It wasn't synced.
Did you see who's that comedian on? Oh man, he tore that song up. The one that the country singer was singing about.
Oh yeah,
it ain't easy being country. John Stewart.
Ugh.
It ain't easy being country, and he's talking about I just want to walk my dog. I just want to drink my beer, and then John Stewart's like, well, it sounds pretty easy in this country.
Not too hard to do, right? Yeah, these idiots. I want my country back. Really? Who took it from you, you dopes? Anyway, so check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. If you go to the website, pushingthelimits.live, you can support independent media. Yours truly. It helps us keep the lights on. We rely on good people like you, not just the YouTube Super Chat, but whether it's $5, $10, $20 a month, or a one-time donation, we appreciate all of them, whatever you can afford. Pushingthelimits.live. You'll see a little icon there that says donate. Take 2 minutes of your time. We greatly appreciate it if you could do that. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live. Yeah, Leonard, always a pleasure.
I'm Chuck. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure having you here, even when a couple of the magas call in and we give them hell. It's always a
that
good
guy
time.
was so like, he thought he was going to get you, he called in, hey, Brian, I got a question for you. And he just,
Here's a question for you. You called a woman.
Why did you talk to her? Why did you even call
Here's
her?
a question for you. I voted for Donald Trump, who's basically attacked every single religion and color of skin and everybody. But let's not talk about that because that's whataboutism. You called a woman a bad name in her DM. I'm very upset. I'm very upset about that. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, I doubled down on it. Here's why I did it. You want to talk about the real issues now, the Epstein files? Oh, no, I don't want to talk about that.
Have anything interesting to say,
Stupid
David,
people.
at all?
Idiots.
Well,
Idiots.
I just, Brian,
Idiots.
went in
Anyway.
her, he DM'd her.
Anyway, I'm going to drink some tea and I'm going to try to feel better so I have a voice for tonight for my debate at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more.